violence and hatred, and I wonder why. There are too many terrorists. There are too many refugees looking for a safe place to live. There's too much disrespect. There's too much bad talking by politicians and religious leaders and even journalists. And it is all over the world. Do you agree? I have been thinking, why is this? And I come to the conclusion that there is a clear concept of we and they. And I will explain to you what it is. And I hope that after listening to my speech, we can recognize situations where we and they is being created. And what you can do to diffuse it. It could be your personal contribution to a better world. Are you ready? First, I start with a little quiz. I give 3 examples of we and they statements, and you have to guess who said this or where it is even written. First statement. You're with us or against us? Who said that? Exactly. And he said that after 9/11. Second statement. There is one God, and there are only believers and non-believers. Where is that written? Exactly. In the Quran, a lot of religious books, they want to say, you know, it's only for me. Third statement. We are Aryans, and we need more place to live.
Hitler did that.
Exactly, and we want to get rid of the Jews. These are all statements that create a we and a they. And when you think about mankind, we're actually not that well developed. We always, as an individual, want to be part of a group. But you can only be part of a group when there are not outsiders. But that is one thing you have to keep in mind. The other one is, if under threat, a human being or an animal has 2 choices. You flee or you fight. So the combination of being part of a group and the urge to fight is potentially very dangerous, because you start fighting against they to defend we. As a consequence, the Americans started a war after 9/11 against people who were not with them. As a consequence, militant religious leaders call for a jihad against non-believers. As a consequence, Hitler killed more than 6 million Jews in the Second World War. Today we are confronted again with a lot of terrorism. And what I find really strange, and I live in Brussels, partly, and last weekend there was a complete lockdown, so you're constantly looking at the news. And what do you see? More is known about the aggressors in a terrorist attack like that. They're all disturbed personalities. They have a record of petty crime, of drinking too much alcohol, of smoking weed. Actually, they were all losers. They did not know what to do with their lives. But then all of a sudden they found a group they could feel attached to. In this case, ISIL, how you ever call it. And then that kind of person, who was a total flee kind of person, will be a total fight person. And they start fighting against they. Now, you might think that we as individual persons cannot do anything about it. But I disagree. I think when we have the ability to distinguish between or recognize a situation where we can say somebody is creating a they and we can directly diffuse it. And I will give you 2 examples. You were just talking about refugees. You hear so often people in Turkey or in Western Europe where somebody says, those refugees, they cost tax money, they lazy, they steal. But then you can say, but sir, just imagine, had you been born in Syria, had your house been bombed away, and had your brother been killed, would you not like to have a new life in a safe country? The answer is of course yes. And those people want to be model citizens instead of lazy, stealing, and just using money. That's an example. The other example is what I heard of a taxi driver saying after the Paris attacks, they got what they deserved, those infidels. That's an outrageous statement. You could get out of the taxi and say, forget about you. You could also say, Mr. Taxi Driver, what would you think after a long day driving, you sit in your tea house, somebody comes in, shoots you, you're wounded, or when your children going on Istiklal Street get killed by a criminal. Would you like that? The answer is no. I think actually you as a person could do a lot, that every time when somebody creates a we and they situation, that you try to diffuse it and that you start arguing with them in a sense of we make a they and a we in a complete us. And I hope that when you go away here, you recognize those situations, that you actually apply it. And then afterwards, you can tell me a story where you encountered it and where you made from a they and we situation one is the situation. Thank you very much.